Hey, welcome to our broadcast today. I'm Kerry Decker. I'm a pastor at Compass Christian Church, and what I wanted to do was share some instructional videos that I am creating. These videos are on various Bible topics, but we're starting with kind of an overview of the Old Testament. And what I've been doing is I've had contact with some Muslim leaders, some Christian leaders in a Muslim country, and they are doing just a great work for God there in that country. And they have reached out to me and a missionary friend of mine to help them along the way in whatever way that we can. And so that's exactly what we're doing. And you can pray for them. You don't necessarily need to know the details, but they're baptizing hundreds of people along the way. And I just don't want to necessarily broadcast that on a video because I don't want to complicate their lives at all. But I decided what I'd do is I'd share these instructional videos with you too. And it'll be an easy way for me to kind of kill two birds with one stone, because I know a lot of folks out there either need a refresher course in what the Bible's all about, or that they are that they have friends that could benefit from a study like this. And so that's what we'll be doing. So I call this a 10-minute Bible study, or 10-minute Bible studies. And I haven't started the timer yet. I just wanted to give you a little overview of what all this is all about. And so, you can also, one of the things that I've done in preparation for this is that you can sign up, or you can sign up for notifications of when the broadcasts are happening, because I'm not going to be broadcasting these on a regular basis. I'll just do it when I can and squeeze it in. But also that if you have a Bible question that you would like to have answered, is that you can go to my page at mybiblequestion.org. Make sure that that's mybiblequestion.org. And that, and it's question, not questions. And so that, and you can, of course, submit more than one if you want to, but it's mybiblequestion.org. And that will be an easy way for you. I have a form on that page where you can ask your Bible questions, but you can also sign up to receive notifications. So in today's broadcast, what we'll be covering is that you'll get a bird's eye view of the Old Testament. And like I said, this will be familiar material for some of you. But you'll learn the time span of the bulk of its history, as well as the two main eras that it covers. You'll consider some of the big questions that it raises, and you'll discover the one-word theme of not just the Old Testament, but the entire Bible. So let's get ready to go. And what I'll do is I'll start my countdown timer right now. So here we go. So the Old Testament consists of 39 books, which make up the first portion of the Bible, the 66 books that are in the Bible. And here's a chart that will help you to learn the two main eras of the Old Testament. And that's the green bar, the green row at the top. Now we'll be filling this in as we go along, and we're not going to complete the whole chart today. It's just far more complicated than that. And so, but you'll learn about the two main eras of the Bible, of the Old Testament. You'll learn about the 7 main periods of Bible history that the Old Testament covers. You'll also get acquainted with some of its key characters, both there in the red row and also the blue area that we have on our chart. And then also you will learn the places of worship that you'll find identified in the Old Testament. And so that's a good way for you to get acquainted, and we'll just go through all of that as we go along. And so our next slide here talks a little bit about the first book in the Old Testament is Genesis, and that name simply means beginning. And the first verse in that book begins by saying, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." And it's interesting that the Bible just assumes the existence of God. It doesn't attempt to prove the existence of God, and it just starts with assuming that God is real. And of course, there's a lot of people that say, well, there's just no evidence. I've heard so many atheists say that there's no evidence for the existence of God. And I would encourage you to maybe challenge or push back a little bit on that, because there's plenty of good evidence from philosophy. There's plenty of good evidence from science. And there's also plenty of good evidence from history, and particularly Christ's resurrection. And maybe in some of our broadcasts down the road that we can talk a little bit more about some of those evidences. And so, but here we have this chart that we're looking at. And the last book in the Old Testament is Malachi. And Malachi is named after the prophet who wrote that book. And he talks about the coming day of the Lord, the time when the Messiah, Christ, would visit the earth. And it's interesting, by the way, at the end of the book of Malachi, he talks about turning the hearts of children back to their fathers, and the hearts of fathers back to their children. And, it just underscores the importance of fathers and dads in the home who are taking the lead in spirituality and teaching their children about God and the Bible and the truths of that. And it's so important. He says, otherwise, he says, I'll come and strike the land with a curse. And we've certainly seen that played out in our generation here in America. And so the book of Malachi was written about 400 years before Jesus was born. And most of the Old Testament was written over a period of about 1,000 years, which covers the start and the development of the Jewish nation. And so Exodus is the book that describes the establishment of the Jewish nation. In it, we find much of the Jewish law, including the Ten Commandments, there in Exodus chapter 20, and the requirements for the first place of worship that the Jews had, and that's the tabernacle. And we'll talk a lot more about all of this as we go along. So, but it's important to understand that really the bulk of the Old Testament, that most of the Old Testament covers a period of about 1,000 years, from the time of Moses to the time of Malachi, and that we have that span of about 1,000 years. So let's go on with our slides here. And the Old Testament covers two important eras of Bible history. And one is the start and the development of the Jewish nation. And the other is the period of the patriarchs. And these are the fathers. That word just means fathers. And so these are the fathers of the human race and of the Jewish nation. And so we see here that I jumped ahead. There we go. Is that's one of the problems of doing this live. But I like that whole experience too. And so, but many of our favorite Bible stories are found in the period of the patriarchs. And of course, this period of Bible history raises a lot of questions about creation, the origin of sin, what's wrong with the world, the flood, as well as questions about the age of the universe, and marriage and gender, and of course, questions about God. And so we have the 6 patriarchs that we see here in that portion of the Bible in the book of Genesis: Adam, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. And there's really a lot of great lessons that we can learn from each one of them. But with respect to your questions that you may have about God, as I would encourage you to go on the internet there and share those questions with me, is that you can go to mybiblequestion.org. And like I said, there's a form there on that particular page, and you can complete that. And so we are going to be going through in a lot more details, all of this. But I figured if you're going to learn the Old Testament in 10 minutes or less, is that we're going to have to do that in bite-sized doses. So, but as we work our way through both the Old and the New Testaments, and that's my goal, is to cover the entire Bible, that we'll see that redemption is really the story of the Bible. And there's a scarlet thread running through the pages of the Bible, and it leads us from Genesis to the cross of Christ and on to the fulfillment of all things in the book of Revelation. And so redemption really is the story of the entire Bible. And the key actor in that story is God himself. And so in the 39 books of the Old Testament, we get the foundations of redemption. And we begin to understand how God is working both in history, at various times in history, to redeem his people from Egypt, and to redeem his people from idolatry, and to redeem his people from the exile in Babylon, and so on. But we also find in throughout the Bible this scarlet thread, and in the New Testament, the 27 books of the New Testament, we find the fulfillment of redemption. And that's, of course, through the person and work of Jesus Christ. And so I am glad that you've joined with me here today for this broadcast. And like I said, if you got a question, let me take that off there. It's a little bit distracting. And so if you got a question, send it to me at mybiblequestion.org. And that, unless you specify otherwise, that I may include this in one of our broadcasts, upcoming broadcasts. And so in the next lesson that we have, what we're going to be talking about is that we're going to be dealing a little bit with some of the stories and themes that we find there in from the patriarchs and from the start of the Bible. And I hope that you'll be able to join me for that. And so, hey, stay tuned for my cool logo that I created here, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.